We really want to focus on the Asia ecosystem as wide as, Malaysia, Singapore, all the way out to Greater China, but also focus on our backyards where we have offices in Malaysia and in Singapore. And we're speaking with thought leaders to really discuss their journeys, why they are here, why they decided to, embark on the journey that they've decided to do.
Welcome to AI to Z. Hosted by Airswift's Chief Revenue Officer, Anna Frazzetto, we delve into artificial intelligence, health tech, and more. Tune in and journey with us into the future.
Hi, AI to Z listeners. Today we're doing something a little different. I have the opportunity to talk to Donnie Maclary from our Singapore office about his new role and mission at Airswift. And he's passionate about the same things that I'm passionate about: tech, DEI, startups, and of course, the Asian ecosystem. Donnie was brought on board to focus on STEM clients and candidates and driving that mission throughout Asia. Part of this mission, he is launching his own podcast. Welcome, Donnie.
Happy to be here, Anna. Thank you so much.
Well, let's jump right in, Donnie. What inspired you to start this new podcast? What are some of the main goals that you're hoping to achieve with the podcast?
I would say the overlying theme is really giving back to the communities that we serve. In recruitment, we are a people business. And if we help people get a job that they enjoy, have a boss that they love, even a higher salary to help provide for their family, essentially, we're really helping their quality of life and overall how they experience things day to day. And for this podcast, we really want to focus on the Asia ecosystem as wide as, Malaysia, Singapore, all the way out to Greater China, but also focus on our backyards where we have offices in Malaysia and in Singapore. And we're speaking with thought leaders to really discuss their journeys, why they are here, why they decided to, embark on the journey that they've decided to do. And most importantly, talk about a wide variety of topics such as leadership, such as D&I, disparity that we see within the tech sphere, as well as different subject matter podcasts focusing on Web3, focusing on aviation technology, drones, just to name a few of the exciting episodes we have lined up so far.
Excellent, Donnie. So what are some of the current trends in talent acquisition that you find most interesting or important?
I would say there's a very interesting trend that we are seeing in cultural fits within organizations. From a technological standpoint, a lot of the boxes are checked when it comes to tech stacks, cloud computing, and some of the nuances of those technical requirements for positions. But it really is finding the right cultural fit, finding the individuals that buy into your brand of leadership or your company's vision for how they see themselves. And most importantly, what they can do to contribute to that vision and, make themselves a vital member of the team.
And that's such an incredible point that you're making, Donnie, because I think some of the challenges that we're seeing that's impacting talent acquisition globally is where companies think that they can use tools to try to find the talent that they need. But obviously, the human aspect of being able to vet out a candidate and take into account the cultural fit are such a critical component of the recruitment landscape.
Absolutely. And also, what do people, or especially companies, spend the most amount of time on is finding the right talent. And if they make the wrong hire, that can have a lasting effect with not only the team, but the overall goal of the business. It is about, really understanding the person that you're speaking with, the hiring manager, the business, or the founder of that organization, and really get down to the fundamental bits that we are able to use to help screen candidates. Not every person is right for every company. And that's where we come in. We're able to match the right role with the right company, with the right individual, so that everyone essentially is happy. And most importantly, they feel fulfilled.
Excellent. So, Donnie, what do you see as the recruitment landscape evolving over the next few years?
Over the next few years, I think it'll be a mix of technical as well as cultural perspectives that we could focus on. Technical, we hear all about AI and how, technology is making all of our lives much easier, but it is about understanding those technologies, understanding those tools, and most importantly, what they're capable of, and being able to put that into business perspective. And then I would say from a cultural perspective, it really is understanding, how to get the best out of individuals. And most importantly, with the new generation that is coming up, it is about making sure that everyone feels like they're contributing to the team, even from a small perspective or a large perspective. I also feel that delegation is going to become very important in the future as far as ensuring that everyone not only feels like they're contributing to, the project or whatever the overall goal is, but also they can give them some room for growth, room for areas of improvement, because there's a trend in hiring that they want somebody that did that exact industry, that exact job previously, when you need to be able to add some additional bits to the table. If someone's been doing the same job forever, where is the growth in that? Where are they going to learn, and how are they ultimately going to improve themselves? That's a very old school recruitment mentality. When I started recruitment, it was, if it was an FMCG company, they wanted FMCG candidates. They wanted them from that specific background or particularly a competitor. They had the list of companies they wanted you to target, and then you went out and found that person. I think with technology as a whole, you see someone working one day at a manufacturing plant as a technologist. The next day, they're in a bank. And that type of, gray in between is really what excites my future, or the future of technology as a whole in recruitment, is that there's going to be a lot more transferability. And you might want someone that's from a technology business startup to join an established business to really change and infuse, those mindsets and principles that they've learned wearing multiple hats. And now some of these larger organizations are going to put some of those skills to good use.
That, and Donnie, you also hit on, our Getty report, right? Our Getty report this year, it actually showed transferability of skills and how people can go from one industry sector to another industry sector is a very popular thing. And for our audience, our Getty report is, we have over 11,000 respondents. It's our global energy talent index, and it's a survey that we do annually. So, Donnie, you're really kind of representing exactly what we're seeing at a global level. I want to kind of take the conversation a little bit into the startup area. I know that that's an area that you want to focus in on as part of the podcast. What are some of the common challenges startups face when it comes to recruitment and talent acquisition?
I would say overall, it's managing expectations. It is a very different environment working in a startup. You're wearing multiple hats. You don't have the infrastructure that you would have in an MNC. You also would potentially, the hours, or, you're not going to work a traditional 9 to 5, 8 to 6, kind of routine. It will be a lot of ad hoc. But for the right individual and really understanding their internal motivations is really where you can get the absolute best out of them. For the right person, wearing multiple hats, having a wider purview, more technologies to be, exposed to, also having a voice that somebody wants to listen to, adding some of that value from your subject matter expertise, and really, it's a less matrixed organization. You're not going to have, decisions are made 7 to 10 layers above your level. You will be on the ground floor. And that is a double-edged sword. You can make, it's a lot easier to make mistakes from that perspective, but also you're able to learn much more as well.
And so what advice would you give startups when they're looking to attract top talent, especially in such a competitive market as you've described? I also think of like small companies trying to compete with larger firms in terms of recruitment efforts.
Absolutely. I think it's also changing the startup's mindset. There are individuals that are in established businesses that would be perfect fits for them. But they think because they've had the infrastructure, they've had all these things that startups traditionally do not have, that this person would not succeed in, whatever position that they would be hired for. I firmly believe that the characteristics that someone has could potentially, really add a lot of value. They might be, quite pigeonholed, for example, only working on front-end development, but they're really curious about DevOps, and they've already been doing personal projects, personal portfolios. They're taking certification exams to really make themselves more marketable to this kind of position, where in an ideal scenario, a startup would love that kind of person. I think from that perspective, from a star's perspective, it is opening your eyes to there are a lot more possibilities than just trying to take someone from another startup, for example. Now, from the candidate perspective, it is about, ensuring that you at least make baseline, I would say, requirements when it comes to benefits, when it comes to leave days. You do have to realize that there are some give and take from a candidate perspective when you join a startup. You're not going to have massive bonuses, at least for the first few years, unless you do join a unicorn and get to that great stage. But it is about the learning perspectives. It is about, adding additional tools to your toolkit, working, from a CV perspective. It is about adding really exciting greenfield projects to your portfolio. There are not many times in established business where you can really go from 0 to 1. And that might be the only bit that's missing, that you can become that future CTO or CDO or CIO that you would like to be. It is going to be a little bit of a seesaw here. But I would say from a startup business perspective, it is about, managing your own expectations, realizing that it isn't just one avenue of approach when it comes to getting this talent. And that is honestly where I feel, we can come in and add that additional layer of credibility. We speak to candidates every day. We speak to clients every day. And being able to really, truly understand the root cause or the root reason someone is looking out, and potentially it might be the wrong environment that they could be in. They might have, an amazing GitHub where they've been working hours and hours on their personal portfolio that nobody ever gets to see because they're in their day-to-day job. That type of scenario, a startup would grab with both hands because it shows initiative. It shows, working outside of the box. And, they're not just doing back-end development, doing full stack, regardless of what their day-to-day is. And that's where I think, bridging that gap, opening those doors and, pulling the wool away from someone's eyes when it comes to, their preconceived notions, I think could be very powerful in finding them the right talent.
Well, Donnie, I can hear the energy and the excitement in your voice as you describe startups and, how to go about to find the right talent. I think it would be helpful for the audience if you could share a bit about your background. Some of you might know Donnie already as Data Science Donnie. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about your experience in talent acquisition and the tech space.
Absolutely. So I'm a bit unorthodox when it comes to my background and experience. I spent about 6 years in the U.S. Army prior to finding recruitment. I would say a lot of transferable skills for all of the recruiters out there with some resiliency. But I was fortunate enough to find myself in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, in the heart of where, a lot of these ecosystems and organizations are growing. And I found recruitment starting in Malaysia. And then I eventually found work inside of Singapore, where essentially, as they say, the rest is history. I fell in love with data. That's why I go by Data Science Donnie. It always amazed me how much information is out there and how essentially predictive creatures we are, that using that information, they can know us better than we know ourselves. And, from my time in technology, we've had, AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, all these really cool and amazing buzzwords. But I would say the part that I enjoy the most is understanding those nuances, how they differentiate from each other, and really the educational side of, technology recruitment, because we have to stay up to date. And the more times that I could count is explaining what these terms mean to non-technical business leaders. What are the capabilities, of these technologies, and we're starting to see the fruits of that labor now. We see manufacturing companies that are now looking at themselves as technology businesses instead of the legacy business that they've been around for X amount of years. And for myself, technology is at the forefront of everything we do. And I wanted to be in a place where I could, help those technologists. And one thing that I noticed very early in my career is the disparity between, different genders in technology. And that is why, I have tried to make it my mission to, one, not just say something, but do something. These podcast episodes are really a great platform for leaders to share their stories and, most importantly, share some of their lessons learned. A famous person once said that, if we don't know our own history, we're bound to repeat it. And I really feel that in technology, we are on the cusp of something such as that. And I, being a technology, recruitment professional, I want to be at the forefront of changing that ecosystem one person at a time.
Oh my goodness, Donnie, I love that. You give me goosebumps as you say that. I think
I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, what tips do you think you have for job seekers in the tech industry that stand out in the recruitment process?
Absolutely. I think when it comes, in my opinion, of course, I think CVs for technologists, it's okay to have 2 or 3 pages. It's okay to add a lot of detail around the variety of different tools and technologies. I'm American. When I was going to high school and college, they showed us about the one-sheeter. You want everything in one sheet because this is all all anyone will give you as far as time. I firmly believe that if they're really serious about hiring a great technologist, the more information they know, the better. And it is about highlighting those exciting projects, even if it's your own personal projects. Do not be afraid to add your own personal portfolio and some of the things that you're doing on the side to your CV, because you have no idea the keywords that recruiters or hiring managers or companies are searching for that literally could ping that one word that you would have never added that would give you the visibility for the dream job that you've always wanted. I would also say, do not be afraid to be unique. Talk about some of your outside of work, hobbies, some of the societies, some of the activities that you are doing. And also, I would say it's very powerful to find a mentor, someone that you want to be like. I've heard a lot of different stories about, find someone from your alma mater or someone from your industry. Honestly, in my opinion, the worst thing you can hear is a no. Someone that you really look up to, and it doesn't have to be someone like a CEO, CTO, super senior level. It could be at manager level. It could be 1 or 2 levels ahead of where you're at now that can help you get one step closer to where you would like to be. And for me, the more people you have in your corner, the more people you have thinking about you and bouncing ideas off of, ultimately, the better for it you will be.
Donnie, I think you gave such a great tip and takeaway as far as adding your personal projects, so relevant in the tech field. I agree with you. Many technologists out there are working on their own little side projects and initiatives, and you never know that might be the technology platform that this other organization is looking for. So that's an excellent takeaway. Well, I'm super excited about you launching this new podcast as part of the Airswift family here. Maybe you can give us a sneak peek of any upcoming episodes or guests that you have planned. I know you have a list already a mile long.
Absolutely. Well, there's some fun topics that we are planning in the process for. One of the most exciting is actually in the Web3 domain, and how Web3 is actually changing how corporate businesses are viewing the way they communicate with their customers, and really leveraging off of that platform or that platform itself to really help their businesses run more effective and smooth, but also improve their company's brand and the ease of their marketability. I also we are planning a podcast around drone aviation and the future of aviation. We are I don't know. It's crazy to think that is now a topic. We think of the movies of afar, and before we know it, there'll be driverless vehicles that we are in, taking us from point A to point B. But it's also about the logistics side of things. It's also about the safety aspect as well, and seeing how all of those topics kind of intertwine in changing the aviation industry. We have artificial intelligence topics lined up within healthcare, and how AI has really revolutionized the way doctors see information, and most importantly, not taking the human aspect out of healthcare. We also have an episode planned for the manufacturing domain. As I alluded to, we have manufacturing companies today that don't see themselves as such. Now they're tech businesses. And we are going to be speaking to some senior leaders within that space and domain as well, and hearing their thoughts of how they're changing the mindset from the ground up.
Donnie, I mean, that's an impressive list. So super excited to have this happen shortly. Where can the listeners find and subscribe to your podcast? And what are you going to call your podcast?
Absolutely. So you can find us on Spotify or YouTube by searching Airswift. And we are going to be launching Asia Rising Tech Talks in the near future. So we hope that we'll be able to piggyback off of some of your amazing followers and help adding the brand spread its word throughout Asia.
Excellent. Donnie, I have to tell you, this will be definitely very exciting to have happen. As you can tell, listeners, Donnie comes with many years of experience, truly a knowledgeable individual when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to startups, and especially the Asian ecosystem. So thank you so much for listening in, and thank you, Data Science Donnie.
Thank you so much. We look forward to more episodes.
Thanks for joining us on the AI to Z podcast with Anna Frazzetto. If you found value in today's episode, consider following for more insightful STEM discussions. We'll be back with another deep dive. Until then.